Hey everyone, welcome to Zealots. I'm Forrest.
I'm back, and Major.
And I'm Robbie.
Matt.
This is episode 8, and this is a pretty important episode because when we first started, we were discussing WandaVision, and we're finally at the end. This was the final episode, the series finale, not the season finale. So this was like it for WandaVision, or so we think. But yeah, there's a lot to uncover today. We have a lot of differing opinions on this episode, ranging on the spectrum from very good to very not so good. So let's hear a positive reaction first from, I think, Major. You seem to enjoy it.
Yeah, well, I got a couple comments first. I want to rate that spectrum pun. I want to give it a Hayward thumbs up because of his terrible pun in this episode from last night.
Only you had more vision.
More vision. And cataracts, like turn your eyes white, like just we get it. I also really like that it was called series finale. You know, it's a one and done. But my favorite part about that is that Kevin Feige, said that they're not planning on a second season, but never say never, right? So like that means he's open to it. Like if someone comes to him with a good enough idea, like then they'll move forward with it. But it's not like they're not just trying to crank out a second season for more cash, right?
Well, I think what they'll do if they do another season, they'll just call it Scarlet Witch and Vision, because now she's officially the Scarlet Witch. I think that was name of their series in the 80s. I think it was like the Vision and the Scarlet Witch, or Scarlet Witch and the Vision. So they had both had like a limited series.
Oh, they had a thing in the 80s. Like a show, or are you talking about comics?
No, a comic, like their actual.
Okay.
Like two of them had their own comic, and
read
it's
the
about
comics.
Having a family.
Yeah, they've been a couple for a long time. What if you called it Scarlet Witch and the White Vision? Because then you've got the two colors.
Don't call them White Vision nowadays. You might offend
we were talking about on Halo last night.
Yeah, that was kind of funny.
Yeah, I was thinking White Vision sounds like he's from Charleston, West Virginia, and not Westview.
He's Africanly challenged.
He's albino vision.
That's why he's white.
Sensitive people nowadays.
Yeah. Well,
it's PC gone mad.
Personal computer's gone mad,
Well, the internet just gave the stupid people louder voices, basically.
Right?
Well, it's like,
and the smarter people are smart enough to stay off Twitter. Because
anyone can go on Twitter.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, I have multiple profiles on Twitter. And
really?
You know who else has a profile on Twitter? This podcast. You can definitely check us out at ZZ Podcast on Twitter. Or hit up our Gmail account at Zealots Podcast.
Gmail is zeitgeistzealots@gmail.com.
Zeitgeistzealots@gmail.com. There we go.
It's no dot. Zeitgeistzealots. And we also now have a YouTube channel. Nothing's on it yet, but I think we're going to upload the podcasts to YouTube, so hopefully we can get a wider audience that way. So
every time I hear it sounds like Zeitgeist, like Guys.
No, Zeitgeist.
Yeah,
exactly. Like someone's saying like a German guy saying like guys.
Just
Zeitgeist
sounds like that every time.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to like not super enunciate so it doesn't like pop in the microphone.
Yeah, because in the description, I always say this week on the podcast, the Zealots discuss ... I should be like this week on the podcast, the Zeitgeist discuss. It'd be better.
Wait,
but
I like the Zealots better, and then once we get a following, we'll call them the Zeitgeist. Like, what's up, Zeitgeist?
Yeah.
Thanks for tuning in.
Our fans can be the Zeitgeist Zealots. I remember our fans called the ZZZs.
Yeah, is that because our podcast is so boring?
Oh
God!
Wow!
All right, so you want some positive review? I absolutely loved it. I'm here on the East Coast, so staying up to 3 a.m. to watch this television show. Really not.
You're probably pretty high at this point.
It's not. I'm asleep. It's not my priority, right? I'm getting too old to be honest. However, I did wake up in the middle of the night at 5 a.m. and could not go back to sleep by about 5:30. I was like, screw it. I'll watch the episode. So I watched the episode and I absolutely loved it. And then I just got finished rewatching it. And I still think it's pretty fantastic. I mean, if you're looking at it for what it really is, right? It's a television show about superheroes compared to something like Luke Cage, even though I love Luke Cage, Iron Fist or Jessica Jones. I think this is just quality head over heels. A lot better.
All right. Let me give my lukewarm review. This was definitely I think it definitely had a lot of the Marvel action and all the fanfare that we expect from one of these movies. So I'm glad we finally got that. I thought the action was pretty good, like the Vision versus Vision.
Yeah, you can definitely tell they were saving money on the first couple episodes, saving it all for the last one.
They definitely spent the $200 million budget, I think, mostly on this episode.
Wasn't that CGI good though? Robbie, our CGI expert, didn't the graphics look great?
Well, at some point, with Vision's fight, you could definitely tell it was animated, but overall, I think they did a really good job with it.
Well, I thought the Wanda and Agatha fight was more like a little bit cheaper.
Yeah.
And it was just sort of
in TV shows, they're not putting as much money into the animation as like a movie.
Well, this was like on Disney Plus though, so they were like they had a high budget for this. It was like the budget was literally like $200 million.
Yeah, but like, have you seen? I would say this is better than half of the movie quality out there, and I'd say it's probably the best CGI I've seen. Like, CGI wizard fight scene I've seen on.
I wasn't nuts about the Agatha versus Wanda fight scenes because it was kind of just like, I'm gonna throw my purple.
Yeah,
shit
it was float around and throw Kamehamehas at each other.
I'm gonna throw my red shit at you. Like, all right, now I'm gonna absorb your red shit, and like, well, I'm gonna reabsorb your purple shit
on TV.
Well, and
did you like the callback to Age of Ultron when she disappears and then does the quick little whisper?
That was the one. That was the one part of their battle I actually enjoyed, and I liked that they had to throw back to that. And I also liked that they brought back the Witch Coven, and they're all like zombies.
But why did they turn on
You are the
Wanda?
Scarlet Witch. I think Agatha gained control of the vision or the dream.
My friend Maurice, we were talking about it a little bit last night because he watched it. He threw out a point like, did Agatha really do anything wrong? Like, she actually pointed out like how she was basically torturing these civilians, and she cut them loose.
Yeah, if you think about Hayward,
what exactly did she do wrong? She even pointed out, like, you're the Scarlet Witch. I know what you can do. I need to stop you.
And I know what you're going to do. Apparently, there's probably some kind of prophecy.
She had an ulterior motive. She didn't really care about the people.
She wanted
the
power. That's what she was focused on.
Yeah, she didn't give a shit about the people. But to be fair, she did help free those people, as did Hayward, because Hayward was literally the one who told Wanda, "You're holding a whole town hostage," even though his ulterior motive was to
bad guy.
It was like his ulterior motive was to create the Vision or repower the Vision robot to use as a weapon. He didn't really care about the people either. But to be fair, they did more for the townspeople than the actual heroes in the story. Maybe Monica tried to help, but I think Hayward was definitely more effective.
Well, I think there's really like strong, like symmetric parallel to the good guys and the quote unquote bad guys of this episode. Like you say, like they did more for the town, but like, as Pietro pointed out to Wanda, she gave them better homes, better jobs, more stable marriages, got rid of those kids. You know what I mean, Matt? Trapped them in the bedroom. That was a scene right there with Dottie. But there's just like a lot of parallels. Like Hayward's the bad guy, obviously, but like, what did he do that Wanda didn't?
Well, I think he tried to crush Wanda's head like a melon.
That was the
you
white
hear all
vision.
those crunching
That's
noises.
Not Hayward.
But, like...
Yeah, but he was controlling the white vision.
Was he? No, he wasn't.
He only programmed them to take out Vision. He wasn't controlling them.
Yeah, he programmed them. Yeah, but he was the one who sent Vision after Wanda. Something like he was responsible. Like, he's the one who programmed Vision to like, hey, go kill that Scarlet bitch. So it was, I don't know. I think White Vision was definitely under his control until Vision kind of woke him up. And then he was like, all right, I'm out of here.
Oh, how about that reference with the ship? That was a really
the ship of Theseus.
I thought that was cool.
Yeah, we'll dive into that because I really like that scene as well. But before we get into all the specifics, I want to hear Matt's overall take on the episode.
Well, if you're taking it from a high level and what I disliked about it, the whole final episode was just a mess. They tried to do too much.
Give it to me.
They tried to do too much and ended up giving a very little. There's just a lot of issues with it. The dialogue was atrocious at times. It felt like it was written by middle schooler.
Are you thinking about mostly like Hayward?
Yep. And
yeah, on second watch, his dialogue was pretty clunky and generic.
When the civilians are freed for a second and are talking to her, they're like these one-liners that are just like, ugh.
It is Disney though too now.
Oh yeah, it was also like it was funny because the girl from the woman from that '70s show was like, "If you won't free us, just let us die." Yeah. It would have been funny if someone said, "She didn't speak for all of us."
That would be kind of funny. What do you mean? I don't want to die.
But see, I actually like that line. I thought some of the one lines, specifically that one. I think that was like probably the best one line of them of the crowd of villagers.
Kind of sad and scary at the same time.
The showrunner definitely has a choking fetish.
Yeah,
she's definitely because Agatha's choking children and Wanda's choking the townspeople.
Well, so you know who directed this episode?
Matt
Sharkman. Matt Chokman. That was good. That was a clever pun. I like that. He also directed a bunch of episodes on season 7 of Game of Thrones. He's done some Always Sunny in Philadelphia. The Boys season 1. He's actually done quite a bit.
He's the TV whisperer, it seems. But but Matt, go ahead and finish your thought.
The only other thought I really had as to why I dislike this series was there's a lot of buildup, there's a lot of potential, and in the end, it's all kind of thrown by the wayside. And
no Mephisto or
like
Ralph Boner.
No Mephisto, no Nightmare, no Kang, no Dormammu even. Like, we build up that there's this secret being behind it, but it's really just Wanda and Agnes.
They literally
I think
said
9 episodes would be too much. Or wouldn't be enough to they would need to extend to probably 10 or 12 episodes.
I think there's
if they were going to actually do Mephisto. I think Mephisto's still in charge of it. I think it'll be like a reveal later on.
I don't know.
I think it was like Agatha all along, like they told us.
Chaos magic.
Yeah. Well, I think there's a strong possibility Mephisto is going to show up in Doctor Strange 2 because that was sort of the. I guess did everyone see both post-credit scenes?
Yeah. Out in the log cabin.
So I think she's like actually projecting herself in the Darkhold, and she hears like Billy and Tommy.
Sounds like they're.
I think people who've read the comics know
why. Why did she's out there by herself in a log cabin in the woods? Like, if she's back there studying, basically, why does she need to put the concentration to make another version of herself?
She's taking a break. She's actually projecting herself because she can do her own thing and then also study.
So which one's the real her?
Splitting herself.
And when did that cost more? When did that cost more concentration to try to?
Well, that's how powerful she is. So you see Doctor Strange, he does this. But he has to sleep, so he falls asleep. At nighttime he sleeps, and then he astral projects himself and still studies.
It reminds me
she's
of
so powerful
Watchmen.
that she can multitask.
Watchmen, what's his name? When she wanted to have sex with him, but he's really still back there studying at the same time. Or
Dr. Blue Dong.
Whenever there's a plot hole in these sort of things, you just say magic. So if you're worried about that, just say magic.
I do notice if you're a big comic book fan, you seem to dislike it more. Because I didn't read the comics, so I just wasn't really expecting certain things. I was just kind of waiting.
We all know. Well, we don't all know, but people who read the comics know that Billy and Tommy, the twins originally were parts of Mephisto's soul. So that's why everyone thought they would show up. Why he would show up in
Or in this, they're basically just straight from Wanda.
Yeah, but I think they're also teasing that they're going to come back in Doctor Strange 2. So that's a good way to open the door for Mephisto.
I was wondering how they were going to connect that, because she totally hurt her kids when she was doing that.
Yeah, so they're off in some sort of different multiverse or dimension. So either I think they're going to she's going to get them from the dream dimension or whatever Mephisto's dimension is, maybe in Doctor Strange 2.
Or she's trying to find a way to
they're going to rescue her kids. That's what I think. It's what Doctor Strange 2 is going to be about. There's going to be an ulterior motive for Wanda and Doctor Strange to go into this dimension or the multiverse.
She doesn't truly want to lose him.
No.
Even though she understood kind of what was happening to her.
She had to do the right thing.
Basically, she's just really broken mind and heart inside. She's pretty messed up inside.
Well, yeah, she lost her parents, her brother, and now her
lost vision 3 times.
Her biological family and her nuclear family, they're both gone. So yeah, she's kind of. I think they're going to build a House of M, and I think it's going to be a cool twist. As people have been saying, is that instead of because in House of M she gets rid of all the mutants, but I think in the MCU she'll probably be the reason mutants show up.
We'll probably talk about the
There's actually a nod to House of M in this episode. When Vision and the kids first start disappearing, they disappear in chunks of blocks, which is the cover to House of M.
What is that? House of what?
Yeah,
House of M.
House of Magnus.
I'm
It's
not
like
familiar
basically
with it.
the story where Scarlet Witch, I think Magneto's part of it too. I'm only
He's like
halfway
put in
through,
charge
but
of it.
So where do you guys read them?
she creates. There's Marvel. You get the Marvel Universe app. Just read the comics
okay.
online or on your phone.
To do that.
But yeah, it's basically like Scarlet Witch is losing her mind, and I think the Avengers and X-Men are thinking about killing her. So basically, she like creates a reality where mutants are the dominant race, and Magneto's like emperor of the world. So, and Wolverine's like the only one who remembers the world it used to be. So he has to like get the heroes together to go after Magneto and put things back to the way they were. So I'm sure they'll be doing that at some point in the future.
How can you not?
But yeah, I think let's talk about the ship of Theseus scene again, because that was definitely. Oh, let's talk about the pros. I'll go over my pros and I'll go over my con too. And I think the pros were definitely. I think the heartfelt goodbye to Vision and the kids was good. I think it was a good emotional beat. I think that the overall Vision versus Vision fight was pretty good. I like the ship of Theseus conversation. It was kind of funny. It was like, do you know the parable of the ship of Theseus in relation to identity metaphysics? And he's like, naturally. But why don't we explain for the audience?
Right.
I want to hear
Yeah,
from you first.
he totally lost me right there, but it sounded cool.
And I was like,
in a way.
yeah, and it was like, do you know the ship of Theseus parable? And he's like, naturally. All right, well, let's hear it. And I was like, oh, let me hear you say it. Well, no, let me hear you say it. Luckily, they're in the library, so they could have looked it up if they weren't. If they didn't know.
He's really like
But,
scanning all the books
guess-
while they're slowly circling, trying to.
He's like, come on, there's gotta be one here somewhere.
There's like a physics book on the ground. He's scanning with his hands. Like,
Yeah, that's
naturally.
right.
So what do you guys think about that? The ship.
Yes.
Which ship is the real ship? The new one?
Oh well, they're not.
I
Neither
thought that
are,
was a
and they both
perfect
are.
analogy.
That was
That was great.
yeah. So that was it was a good metaphor
Yeah, or
or
how-
analogy or whatever.
There's another really popular
Analog.
thought experiment in philosophy. Imagine like you're
Pavlov.
taking a bite of an apple, right? So there's a chunk of an apple in your mouth after the bite. You chew it up, you swallow it, it goes through your digestive system, et cetera, et cetera. It gets broken down in your body. You absorb the nutrients. When does that apple,
Poop.
that chunk of apple become a part of you? Is it when it enters your mouth? When it's in your stomach? When you poop it out?
Doesn't it
Yeah,
leave
so
you eventually?
When is exactly. So like, is that
Yeah.
apple a part of you?
That's not really. Maybe
Not really, because you eat
Yeah,
it
but
and
you
poop it
absorb
out.
the nutrients, right?
pooping
So
out
some of
what
that
you-
apple's a
what
part
your
of
body
you.
doesn't want.
Okay. You sweat out the nutrients eventually.
Well,
Um,
after a while, like
Well, then you go
your
back to
whole
the shit because
your whole body
all
is-
all your cells die off and
eventually you're a
regenerate.
whole new you if you look at it that way.
Okay. Well, my other pro for this episode, I think, was the Scarlet Witch reveal. I thought we finally got her full costume.
I love how
with the
she fought
headpiece.
like the entire episode in sweatpants and like the sweatshirt. Like I was thinking about that. I was like, if I was a
that's
witch
pretty good.
or a wizard or whatever, if I was like
Mom.
Doctor Strange, I wouldn't have like a fancy costume. I would be comfortable as
Well,
hell.
I figured they were actually going to show her costume, but her costume is basically like her old one, which we saw in like episode 6 when she brings the drone out. It's basically just like a sleeveless version of her jacket.
I want to say one of my
with the
favorite things
headpiece.
about the costume is I remember a couple years ago, Olsen made a comment on Elizabeth. Thank you. I was trying so hard. Elizabeth
Yeah.
Olsen made a comment on,
The one who was
Right,
Mary Kate or Ashley.
and Elizabeth Olsen made a comment on a late night TV show that she was not exactly thrilled that she was the last female character to still show cleavage in her costume on set
Yeah.
and on movies. So I think it's cool that with this new costume, they kind of like, granted her wishes.
Oh, I guess it
Yeah,
goes up to her neck,
it's
right?
not revealing at all.
Okay. Well, I think Black Widow had a cleavage revealing costume. I think like in the new movie, she's gonna have a zip down.
I think this was like a
60s movie.
2018 comment, so maybe it doesn't apply like the newer movies.
Well, strangely, she does look sluttier in her Scarlet Witch costume than she did in her old one. So I don't know if that was a gain or a loss, but I don't know. I thought it was well handled. I like the how she beat Agatha with the using her
All
trick
right, the
against her.
runes.
Like
Good
the
old
whole
Chekhov's
runes.
gun. I'm glad they paid that off.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking like, well, how did she not notice it? Because they're freaking giant.
There's all
on
the
freaking
clouds.
walls, and they're like
But
this
yeah,
surrounds the entire
You're
city.
absolutely right.
Oh, okay.
So how was she able to cast
I
magic
was
during the
well,
whole
it must have
fight?
been- maybe she wasn't. Well, I don't know. I think she didn't set the runes until after she woke up from the vision.
Yeah,
Not
she
the vision,
made
the
those
dream
runes with all
the other
those
witches.
missing fireballs.
She was
shot
missing.
out.
Yeah, she
But
was missing
Agatha's
on
still
purpose,
shooting-
wasn't she? To set those on the wall of the spell.
Yeah.
Did Agatha
Agatha's still shooting purple stuff and still sucking up. I feel that's magic if you're sucking up powers.
Yeah.
Well, she didn't have.
Well, I think
the
it was just a
runes
play.
out and set until she was like missing on purpose to hit the wall and sometimes hit her
I think
to like make her not notice she's setting those. That's
yeah,
such a
I thought it was
stretch.
clever how
Such
she
a
made the
stretch.
ruins. But I would say this, because she needs to mutter incantations, I would say that sucking up Wanda's magic is not a spell, and therefore she can still do it after the runes.
That whole
were
part
created.
was a little confusing how exactly that worked.
Yeah, I think it was just like, well, she's in the runes now. She can't. She's powerless. Like,
Yeah,
Wanda.
I mean, if you want
Or was
to
it she was-
nitpick,
she
I
was
would
giving
nitpick at
her-
like, why did her skin all of a sudden go from being 100,000 years old to being 20?
Yeah.
And how come
And why
Agatha,
can they still fly?
And how come
Her
Agatha didn't
power
become old?
Yeah.
How come Agatha didn't? I thought Agatha should have become old when she resucked the power
Right.
back into her.
So like, yeah,
herself.
I'm okay with
But Agatha's
nitpicking
like,
on that.
that's
That's
amazing.
fine. I'm not
I
a
think-
fanboy.
Because like
Yeah, I
she's
didn't really
old
get
in the
that.
comics.
I think the writers didn't know how to end the fight, so they were just like last minute, hey, remember that rune scene? Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, and if she was powerless,
Well, I think that was always the plan. I think it was always the plan to use the rune scene, but I think
I was
it
wondering if
could've
she
done
was just
better.
going to fall to the ground while they were in midair if she can't use magic.
And I guess, I guess my one of my cons was that I didn't really like how Agatha wound up. Like she's gonna cast a spell on her,
Really?
but
Yeah,
Westview
they
doesn't
closed
exist
things
anymore. She
down.
cast a spell
Like-
on Agatha to make her like. Isn't she gonna like wander around being Agatha?
Yeah,
like a
I think
50s
she's
lady?
like permanent.
Well,
Well,
she
she
was
didn't say
dressed
she's
in
she's just the nosy neighbor. She's that energetic and nosy neighbor.
Okay. Well, I think she did that before she took Westview down, or while she was
Yeah,
doing
I think
Westview.
it's
So I thought like
after.
when she cast a
I
spell
did
on
think she
Agnes-
was going to leave her in
I think
there.
it was before because it was before Vision died.
Oh,
Before
touche.
Vision, the kids
Good
died.
point.
So she cast it. She cast it before the hex closed. So I thought, well, once the hex closes around her,
Well,
won't she?
literally,
Yeah.
force it's just hand wavy magic here in this case.
Yeah.
If you haven't, if
Yeah,
you
it's
haven't
basically for any plot hole,
She
right?
did
It's
it
just
because
like-
it's magic.
Magic.
One of the pros I did like in the Agnes fight was the nod to Wanda's fight with Iron Man. The whole distract and then hit him with a car.
The car was so great.
Yeah, that's
That was awesome.
Oh, I
yeah,
don't remember
when
that.
she fought Iron Man, she did the same thing. She distracted him and then had a bunch of cars hit him.
I guess a little detail with that part that did it wasn't a big deal. It was just one thing that kind of bugged me a little bit because when you turn your car off after it runs a while, it has that little like clinking noise.
Mhm.
Well, she just picked up the car and sent it through the window, and it had that clinking noise like they were already driving the car. You know what I'm talking about?
Did y'all like that
you didn't run the car? Why
Did
is
y'all like
making
it
that noise?
Did y'all like the
I
Wizard
did.
of Oz?
I did.
Yeah,
Especially
with the
since
boots- with
her
the boots still
mom's
there.
name is
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Wicked Witch of the East.
I was like, oh. I mean, I guess like people like think that I think I read like people thought Catherine Hahn was a little too cringe, but I'm like she's doing Wicked Witch of the West.
I didn't think she was
Basically,
cringe
what,
at all.
they're sort of emulating. Yeah, I thought she was good. I mean, I thought she was trying to. They had to make her like over the top, so I'll be like, it didn't bother me. But I think some people, I don't know. What do you think, Matt?
Yeah, it was like, oh, that's neat. It's a little nod.
I was
Well,
like, I
not
got
so.
going
So
for it,
real
so,
fast though. Like
So, what do you think of Agatha? Like, not the nod, but like, overall as a villain.
So
I mean, not as
that's
a villain, but as a
the problem I
character.
have with this whole series, and the build up. We're thinking the last few episodes that she's going to reveal another character, which never happens. And are you seriously telling me that the main villain in this whole story is Agatha? Like, it just such a
Agatha all along.
character.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
it's like
written
they.
song.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like they've turned like minor characters from the comics and the main villains of film before. Like, what was it? Aldrich Killian was the main bad guy in Iron Man 3, and he was like only in the comics for like 2 pages before he shot himself. And then like, what's his name? Alexander Pierce in Winter Soldier, who was like also a minor character. So like they've I think just to keep the twist going, they've turned these minor characters in like the big bads in the films, TV.
But yeah, that's my
So-
problem. Is like she's not like, to me, she's not even a villain in the comic books, and that's the best we have for this series. Is
Yeah.
this former mentor now turned bad person who probably will end up being her mentor in the movies.
Yeah, that's what they're sort of going for. Like, you're going to need me, so I think she's going to come back. But to be fair, I think they were going for the ultimate Marvel version of Agatha, because in that version, she's younger and like more of a straightforward.
Well, let me ask you this:
villain.
compared to like
So, yeah.
the last Spider-Man movie, where we knew the bad guy was Mysterio, right? Everyone knows that Mysterio is a bad guy, but they still try to play him off as like he's the good guy at first. Like, so not knowing that Agatha was going to be the bad person versus walking into Spider-Man knowing that Mysterio was going to be playing Spider-Man the whole time. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, then people would have been pissed off if Mysterio wasn't a villain because he's such
he had to be
villain. That if they, but and his whole shtick is like
but everyone knows he's the bad guy. It takes one Google search.
Yeah, that's true. But fans would have been so much more pissed off if they made
so do you just not pick Mysterio, or do you
learned their lesson
make him a bad guy the whole time?
I think. Well, the thing is, like, people want to see Mysterio,
and he did a great job.
But they had to make him a villain. But they did a good job, like, portraying him as maybe a guy people can trust. But I think they learned their lesson with Mandarin not to mess with anticipation.
Major. The thing is, though,
questions when you guys are ready.
The thing is, Major, though, Mysterio is actually a villain in the universe and is actually really heavily in the comics, and it's a good sell to have a major villain, whereas Agatha Harkness, like, why? That's the best we can come up with, a villain, and not FBI dude, but Sword dude who's like recreating Vision like Hayward. They're just not.
Marvel's not known for their villains.
Well, to be fair, Scarlet Witch doesn't really have that many great villains.
Yeah, but we're not connecting the universe. They could use anyone. Spider-Man has great villains. He has the second best rogues gallery.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, Spider-Man has great villains. Scarlet Witch isn't really known for her villains. She's basically just known as an Avenger, and she's known for being batshit crazy and altering reality. She doesn't really have any her own Moriarty.
You make them the bad guy, and that ties it to the Spider-Man movie, which allegedly Scarlet Witch is going to be in, or maybe not.
Scarlet Witch has Chthon, Nightmare. She's part of the Dormammu story. Kang, like, there's so many other villains.
Well, the thing is, like, those are villains for other characters. Like Nightmare's Doctor Strange, Kang's like Avengers as a whole. I think Chthon could have been used. And I think Chthon might be coming back.
He wrote the Darkhold,
He wrote the Darkhold.
So it's probably going to be him, Mephisto.
Yeah. And the nod to Marvel Zombies, because the Darkhold is what creates Marvel Zombies. And when they go back into the vampires and werewolves, but when they go back to Salem in the dream sequence, those witches are definitely zombies.
Maybe we'll see a what if of it.
I think there's gonna be another season. I think people liked it enough. There is called Scarlet Witch.
With that Jimmy Woo spinoff.
But I definitely see more Scarlet Witch after Doctor Strange 2. I don't think they're gonna kill her off, and their Vision's still alive.
So where did White Vision go?
So I think there was definitely
that's one big thing.
We don't know. I think it should have been there should have been like an after credits scene, like at the end of Winter Soldier, where he's like looking at like a museum of Avengers. He's like freaking out.
He's gonna like paint himself red again.
Cool. But
he's like stuck white.
Remember Robot Chicken? Captain Planet.
So
remember, it's like Ted Turner like paints himself as Captain Planet, and he's like in the bathroom, like some guy walks in, he's like all blues, like Captain.
Sounds familiar, I think.
And like the guy just walks right out. Yeah, look up Captain Planet Robot Chicken. It's basically
I think I have seen that.
Like really,
it's been a while since.
Just like really like clumsily. He's gonna dress up in his Mexican Halloween costume. That's gonna be the White Vision. Just gonna paint his face red and like wear that Mexican costume we wore for Halloween.
So speaking of White Vision, what did you think about Paul Bettany trolling all of the Marvel fans?
Yeah, he was like, I think he read another interview recently. I was like, I can't believe I did that.
Yeah, I think it was like GMA or something.
This whole show was basically like chill with your expectations, because there was no special engineer that Monica knew. It was just a random person. There was no Mephisto. There was no references to Young Justice. Not Young Justice, Young Avengers. Yeah, it's gonna be sufficient. Season 2. So like the whole season, the whole series was like keep your expectations under control, because like basically, but we still saw some cool stuff. Yeah, that was I think the biggest con. I think people are more mad about that than they were about Mandarin in Iron Man 3, because everyone thought this is going to introduce the multiverse to Marvel. It's like, nope, it's just some guy who's played by the same actor who played Quicksilver in the Foxverse, which is so weird because the next movie is going to be about the multiverse. The next Spider-Man is going to be about the multiverse. So this would have been a great way to introduce the concept, but they were just like, all they had to do was say like, I pulled him from another dimension, or pulled him from another reality.
Yeah, or tease it, something like that.
Or his name was like, wasn't his name like Peter Maximoff in the movie Days of Future Past? So they could have said, this is Peter Maximoff.
Your other brother.
Instead of like Pietro Maximoff. So, yeah, from another mother.
No, same father.
And
got
father.
The last name.
So to get back to Robbie's question though, where does White Vision go? Like that fight just kind of ends and he flies off. But
I I have a few things I want to say about that scene when they were coming together. Like we were all wondering if I was expecting they were gonna like fuse together or something, and that was their way of bringing him back to life. But I guess this way is a way of just like bringing him back to life as well, because he basically unlocked his memories, and he's just like the way he was now.
Right.
But
and
this is
what are
him.
but memories?
If you think about it, this is him. All he remembers is up to when he got the Mind Stone ripped out of his head. That's like his last memory, basically, isn't it? Because that's his original body.
Yep.
And also, like, I guess this is just their way to kind of like Vision's there, and they can do what they want with it from now, but they don't really have it explained yet.
This is a way to bring Paul Bettany.
And I say
back,
good.
You know,
I
like
was
Vision.
really impressed with Paul Bettany. I gotta say, Scarlet Witch and Vision were probably my least two relatable Avengers, and that includes Hawkeye.
Even when he was just
and this
Jarvis, I
show kind
love
of
Jarvis.
Right, I like Jarvis more than I like Vision.
Yeah, because they were.
But this really changed my mind on them.
Yeah, they've only been supporting characters in the movies they've appeared in, like Age of Ultron and Civil War and Infinity War. Like they were just like minor supporting characters, and they finally.
Or another way I was thinking they might send it, but I'm glad they didn't. Was like when he was basically telling him that he's the real Vision, and I was wondering. I was like, well, my programming tells me to kill Vision, and then.
And he just kills himself. Yeah,
he just blows up.
He's like kill himself,
punches himself in the face.
He snaps his own neck. He just snaps his own neck.
Yeah, because then what? He's just a memory, basically, just created by Wanda.
Yeah, remember Peter at Christmas? And he's like, "Here you go, Dad." He's like, "Oh, snap!"
He does that a lot. Like, oh, it's a Meg episode. Snaps his own neck.
Yeah.
Poor Meg.
Oh, he's like, funny. He's like, he turns the camera. He's like, "That's right, folks. It's gonna be a
Here's
Meg
the
episode.
remote.
It's a remote
Hey,
on the
Game
table.
of Thrones is on.
Here's the
Don't
remote.
forget.
No one would blame me if you changed the channel.
So,
We'll be here
as a
next week.
side note, too, a question I have for you guys is: how does White Vision get through the hex? It's before it's open.
Magic.
Which I also took.
And he doesn't have the
Well,
Mind Stone.
he's powered by.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
powered by Wanda's power, because remember they got a piece of Wanda's power from the drone.
because they even
so that's what I was
mentioned
sort of
that.
thinking.
That
And
was
Monica
what they
got
used
through.
that
She
drone
just had to
for.
push. Monica was able to get through, and she was already she's nowhere near as powerful as Vision.
But
It's a
when
bit
Monica-
of a stretch,
maybe
though,
he struggled a bit, but
When Monica goes through, it rearranges her DNA and changes her. Yet Vision can, but like
Vision
I
had
thought they were
the
going to
DNA
do
change
more
God.
with Monica.
maybe it's like organic matter
I
can't get
haven't-
in. I don't know.
I haven't
It
read the
has from
comics,
beginning.
so I
think
don't
maybe
know
like
much
inorganic
about
matter.
her, and like they didn't really do much with her. They gave her that. They gave her like her own episode, but then like they didn't really go back to her
she's
much.
coming up.
They had her like her own.
She didn't
little
really have a
fight
lot to
scene,
do.
and then- but didn't really tell you much about her. All the fans know about her, but I don't really know much about her.
They're pulling the Captain Marvel, which she'll probably be in Captain Marvel
yep,
too.
she's definitely going to be in Captain Marvel 2. She's the segue to Captain Marvel 2.
Okay.
And what's interesting is that she was called Captain Marvel like 20 years before Carol Danvers was. Because Carol Danvers was just called like Miss Marvel until like 2012, and they changed to Captain Marvel. But like Monica Rambeau was called Captain Marvel.
Aren't they having a thing of
early
that
80s.
apparently
Captain
she's
Marvel.
supposed to be?
So she was.
I hear they were saying that she's supposed to be more powerful than Captain.
Well, yeah,
Marvel.
it was like
I don't.
I don't know.
They
I don't
haven't
think
really
that'll be the case.
showed what
I think she'll be
exactly
like
she
Captain
do.
Marvel Jr.
Apparently, she
If they
can
do a
turn to
buddy
like a
cop
gel
movie
that slows
in
bullets.
space-
I've
Yeah.
seen
They
that.
do a buddy cop movie in space with Brie Larson and Monica Rambeau. That'd be really fun.
Yeah, I really hope the next
They
one
just
takes
go
place
from
in space.
planet
Yeah,
to
I think it's going to
planet
take
and
place in
just, like,
space. I think that'd be
bounty
pretty
hunters.
cool.
Well,
What exactly is her power, though?
We're going to see the action.
She can affect time.
In general, like
I don't know.
Wanda's,
She's Captain Marvel.
It's like
stuff.
light.
whatever.
She can just do whatever she wants with light.
She controls. She
But,
controls
So
cable.
the
She has never-ending battle.
Captain Marvel 2 will
against Comcast.
definitely take place in space because the first cutaway, they revealed a scroll that have been working with Nick Fury. And we
Oh,
know
good
that
point.
Nick Fury is making a base in space, and now the Skrull are contacting, Rambo. So
She does point
That's-
up. Yeah.
What if Nick Fury? What if Nick Fury was just on the roof, like looking at his watch?
You got a helicopter
What
to
is that
catch.
bitch? That's what she been. Yeah, he's on the roof when she points up. Space, like no, the roof. Dummy. But yeah, it's probably in space. I guess I don't know if the Skrulls. I'm sure the Skrulls will be there. I don't know if they'll be antagonists. They'll probably be allies, but I don't know if they'll be evil Skrulls in that or not. But yeah, I think also White Vision. That's a story in the comics. Because I think like he becomes like fully like his instead of
They
becoming green
remake
and red,
him,
he
but
becomes white.
without
He becomes like
Wonder
motionless.
Man's thought. Brain. Yeah.
Oh yeah, without stop
Because
power, so he has
yeah,
no personality.
He
So he's
refused it. He
emotionless.
said it was like torture or agony last time he did it, and he refused to do it again.
I mentioned it last week in the podcast, but in one storyline in the comic books, the fight scene, which I thought was going to happen this way, instead of just giving him his memories, he fuses his mind with him, and then White Vision stays white, but his face turns red. And in that story arc, at least, there's two Visions, and they're both the real Vision.
I think that would have been like a cooler thing to do, but then if they merged, then you wouldn't have that nice goodbye with Wanda. So I think they had to do it this way. But it would be really cool if, like, during the Vision fight, like they hit each other, they're like holding, like embracing each other, and they just fly up and they fly through the hex, and like that merges the two together. I think that'd be the way to do that. But then you wouldn't be able to have that heart-wrenching goodbye with Wanda.
Speaking of which, they have that goodbye. It's nighttime. True. She puts the kids to bed, gets rid of the hex, and then walks down to the city center where everybody's just been like hanging out doing nothing apparently for a day because the military's just kind of still there. Darcy's still, but I mean, like literally, Darcy's still in the truck, and they still haven't taken Hayward out of the thing and arrested him yet, because then Johnny Woo comes in with the worst line in the whole series, where he's like, "Go over there and collect evidence," and it's like, what? But literally, she goes to this whole sequence, and then just walks back to the center of the city, and everybody's just kind of where they've been.
Well, I think I think time is different in the hex, because it was like nighttime in the hex, but like
magic.
When the hex shrunk, it was daytime. So yeah, magic. That's basically any plot hole. But I think that was what the writers were going for. Like time works differently, so she was able to have enough time to say goodbye to her kids and Vision. But it was only like a few minutes after, when she rushed. At least I like there was actual consequences for her actions, because the people in the city, like, they fucking hate her. Like, you can just tell they're giving like death stares. And I was like, that was one of the things Wonder Woman 84 was missing. Like, there were no consequences for all the bad things she did. Or there's like no consequences for the wishes, in that movie. Like, I think people said, like, what if someone like made like a selfless wish, like they wanted their grandmother or parent to not have cancer? And how come Maxwell Lord isn't being arrested for breaking into the White House? Because everyone still has memories of their wishes. They just lost them. So yeah, I mean, at least this movie at least the show was better than one.
I still haven't seen that.
And at least
it's
there was
the
no
worst movie. I was gonna say, I've taken about
don't. It's so dumb.
I don't want to watch it.
But this movie,
this
makes
about.
Yeah, WandaVision.
One of these days. Yeah. I was gonna say.
I'm sure Riff Track's gonna make fun of
Zealots Twitter account.
Yeah. So it was a I don't know, not a great movie, but this was an enjoyable show, and I hope they make more. I hope, and maybe they'll open the door for Mephisto at Chthon and the Darkhold, and another season. If not, Doctor Strange 2. So I mean, I wouldn't give up hope on Mephisto, but Mephisto I felt was always more of a Ghost Rider or a Silver Surfer enemy. So I'd rather he be saved for those, like,
I mean, they're coming out with Fantastic Four
reboots
soon,
of those properties.
So. And
yes, I mean, Silver Surfer's just
from
the corner. They're doing Blade
the Punisher, or Ghost Rider. Excuse me.
Yeah, well, Ghost Rider teamed up with Blade, Doctor Strange, the Darkhold Redeemers for the Midnight Suns arc, where they take on Lilith. But you can't do Ghost Rider unless you do Mephisto.
Well, are they going to cross over with True Blood?
Ghost Rider. So I think it would probably work better.
Lilith, the vampire goddess.
I hope not. Well, that's where she comes from mythology, but like Marvel has their own version of that. Like they have their own version of Dracula. They have their own version of some other characters. Yeah. So some Morgan Le Fay
is Merlin.
Mordred the Mystic, I think, is another one.
In the multiverse, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure Merlin's in the Marvel universe in some shape or form. He's just not a major character. But Morgan Le Fay and Dracula are pretty big. So I think like when they do Blade, it's gonna be like based on the Tomb of Dracula series, where they're hunting down Dracula. Hopefully in the 70s. No, they should get. What's the guy who played Jaime Lannister in
Walter Cousteau?
He'd be a good Dracula. Yeah, Nikolai Walter Cousteau. He's like Danish, right? They already used Mads Mikkelsen. Yeah, they should have used Mads Mikkelsen.
Speaking of theoretical casting,
great for that.
Who would you guys cast as Mephisto? I'm gonna go first and steal the easy one. I'm gonna say Al Pacino. I think he would be a great Mephisto.
Yeah. I mean, he's a little too old. Like maybe like 20 years ago he'd be good. I think he's just like way too old for that, because I think they use Mephisto for multiple movies. I would probably go with maybe Christoph Waltz, although he's not a lot younger. I like Joseph Fiennes a lot. He doesn't really do a whole lot of stuff.
Al Pacino is only 80. Dick Van Dyke,
I don't know,
95. helped out with creating.
All right, Dick Van Dyke
WandaVision, like on set, making sure they got the first couple episodes to feel right for it.
If he was Mephisto, I would have been okay with that. But I think Al Pacino's too old, even though Dick Van Dyke's older. I just think that would just been like such inspired casting.
Who'd you guys cast, Robbie? Matt?
I don't really know his character well enough to really say. I've seen pictures of him.
But like
Nicolas Cage? Nicolas Cage?
God, no. Nicolas Cage, get him away.
Oh, God. That'd be awesome. He has the forehead.
Speaking
for
of
it, though.
foreheads, what about Willem Dafoe?
Well, he's already coming back for Spider-Man 3.
Fine. No, but he's got a face.
Has he done anything recently?
Nicolas Cage? Always.
Yeah.
Who?
A bunch of he's
doing a bunch of
DVDs about cuss words. I would definitely recommend checking that out. It's pretty entertaining.
Yeah. So guys, I gotta dip off, but how about we do?
We're all ready.
I've got
more to go, or are we pretty much like good?
More to go over. I'm surprised you negative Nancy's didn't even bring up the missing plot thread about the FBI witness protection. Like, who is that person?
Oh yeah, this, like I said before, like this whole series is like temper your expectations. Just like take everything at face value and you'll enjoy it more. But if you have like all these fan theories, that's why it should be released all at once.
Yeah,
I think because like people could have seen all at once.
That's
like,
true.
It is what it is.
You keep people wondering.
Self-contained story, but like week
you're
after
gonna
week,
disappoint people.
when it's released week after week.
Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
all right. Well, actually,
let's
real fast. I can just rapid fire a couple questions I had for you guys. Boner joke. Did you guys like that or not? With Ralph being Pietro. I agree, but like,
should have been a multiverse.
Isn't it a nod to Growing Pains or some '80s show?
Oh yeah, because Adam
my
West
question
was
on that is: so is Ralph Boner just a civilian that Agatha turned into a superhero, basically?
Yeah, he's not. He's just played by the same actor.
Okay, but it is still that actor. But
that's why. It
but
was so
in
dumb
WandaVision, is Ralph still just
maybe they can retcon it like
just a regular old Ralph.
Yep.
Yeah,
and
so
like Wanda,
she can basically create
superheroes. Around him, he has speed powers.
She can, I guess, like give him a magical necklace and
with her necklace,
them with powers.
Badass. I'd be like, Agatha, hook me up.
All right, what do you guys think about Vision's disintegration death? I thought that was probably the best one I've seen on TV.
Well, we saw a tease of it.
Yeah, but like, actually dying.
6.
Like, it is, I wouldn't say it's quite like a trope, but it is like a pretty common occurrence that, people will disintegrate and die. And usually, it looks cheesy to okay, but I thought Paul Bettany did a great job dying. Because, just imagine like acting that out. Like,
he kept his calm, like Vision composure, but you could tell like he had a little bit of like, I don't want to go feeling.
Yeah, it's just the nuance. I really, really, really like that.
Like, so long,
as he's fading, like, I don't want to
go. Why did
I agree?
It hurts so much. It's like, why is my head the last thing? My entire body went first and was agony. Why could my head go first?
A wood chipper.
It's like going into wood chipper like feet first. That was the equivalent, and like the kids were the same way.
So
they're just screaming upstairs.
They were getting arrested. I guess the idea was he took Vision and used him as a weapon without proper authority and going through the proper channels, I guess. And he was using it for some
sword, though. Like
they were like,
he broke the Sokovia cords.
It did make me smile and laugh at what's her name, like crashing the car.
Darcy.
She's like,
one line that's off.
Enjoy your time in prison, or whatever she said.
She should have been like, "Don't drop the soap."
Hope you like prison.
God, I love
hope
that
you
line.
like prison food
Such a great
and penis. Yeah. Hey, guy, Major, how about I give you the password and you can just like do another recording and just finish this up because you can just like combine them
technical.
when you make the episode.
You can just
how does it work with
because I gotta go. Well, I was
gonna say just mute your mic.
You just want to do a part 2 tomorrow or later?
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, I gotta like keep my phone.
We'll do a part 2
with me.
More about
but yeah, let's just do a part 2
this
week. Yeah, so
I don't mind WandaVision.
But yeah, sorry, I guess
podcast
bad.
And then we could have a part 2 that's like.
I think we got like
WandaVision and random other things we gotta say.
Jupiter's Legacy.
The outline. Yeah, Jupiter's Legacy looks really good. Soldier Boy looks awesome. Can't wait for the boys. X-Men maybe.
Well, it was. I mean, the Jupiter's Legacy trailer. I watched it yesterday and was like, this is kind of lame. It's like I mean, it just shows like the pictures of the comics, like and pictures of the live action shows. I wasn't too excited.
Jupiter's
about it. We'll see how
Legacy
it
is an
goes.
upcoming
I don't think
American
it's gonna be as
superhero
good as
streaming
Boys, but I
television
could be
series
wrong.
created by Steven S. DeKnight based on the comic book series by Mark Miller and Frank Quietly, set to premiere on Netflix on May 7, 2021. It follows the story of the world's first superheroes who received their powers in the 1930s. In the present day, they're revered elder guard, but their superpowered children struggle to live up to the legendary feats of their parents. Synopsis.
Yeah, sounds good. Well, everyone, I think
So
we're
come
gonna do
back,
a part 2.
right?
So,
Tweet us in the meantime. Check
come
us
back
out.
later,
Send us an
or-
email, a
yeah.
Gmail. Maybe then I'll remember what it is. Tweet. Bye, guys.